Flickering lights, a plume of smoke, and complete darkness just moments before devastation.
The Francis Scott Key Bridge crumbled into pieces after a cargo ship slammed into it.
This state has been able to show what it means to be Maryland tough and Baltimore strong.
Today's search efforts shift to recovery as officials try to piece together why and how this tragedy happened.
Plus, building more affordable housing near Disney. Why some people living in the area aren't too happy about what the county's calling the solution to a crisis.
And we are off to a dry start this morning, but won't last too long. First Warning meteorologist Kellyanne Klass is timing out when you may need to grab an umbrella.
Local, live, late breaking. WESH 2 News Sunrise starts now.
And good Wednesday morning. Thank you for starting it with WESH 2 News Sunrise. I'm Jason Guy.
And I'm Meredith McDonough. Let's get things over to First Warning meteorologist Kellyanne Klass. And Kellyanne, off to a dry start today, but that may change a little later on.
Yeah, we are looking at some showers and thunderstorms moving in later on in the day. Right now, though, the bulk of the activities focus along the Big Bend area up through about Tallahassee, all thanks to this front that will slowly approach Central Florida. Happy to say we're not tracking anything this morning besides some cloud cover, but there are some nasty storms from Apalachicola over towards Tallahassee and then out into the Gulf that's beginning to make its way towards the I-10 corridor in parts of the Big Bend area of Florida. Here locally, it actually won't be until this afternoon that we see some showers and thunderstorms as that front slowly approaches, but will not arrive until tomorrow, which will bring in more rain. We'll have more of those details in a few minutes. First, though, let's get over to Megan with a check on the roads.
Kelly, good morning. I'm monitoring some construction this morning. As we mentioned earlier this week, this is at the Sand Lake Road exit. This is a live look at I-4. It looks like this morning those westbound express lanes heading towards Kirkman are shut down this morning, but you can see those regular lanes are getting by in both directions. So those overnight lane closures there have cleared, but those express lanes are still partially blocked this morning. So keep that in mind, but there's really not going to be a need for those express lanes right now because I'm not monitoring any crashes. This is a live look closer to Maitland towards downtown Orlando. Great visibility for our Wednesday. No traffic issues other than that construction. We will check in with those I-4 travel times in a few minutes. Jason.
All right, Megan. This morning, the rescue efforts following the bridge collapse in Baltimore now shift to recovery.
At least 6 people are presumed dead after a fully loaded container ship slammed into a support column. Sonika Dange has been staying on top of this story since we brought it to his breaking news yesterday morning. And Sonika, the city of Baltimore is really just trying to stay strong amidst all of this.
Yeah, a lot of shock still as the skyline looks so vastly different this morning. Prayer vigils were held yesterday as local, state and federal agencies band together in now the recovery efforts. And we are hearing the dispatch calls just moments before and after the cargo ship slammed into a support beam off the Key Bridge.
Be advised, the entire bridge, the entire Key Bridge is in the harbor.
Thousands of commuters use this bridge every day, heavily utilized at the port. We know now that the cargo ship that slammed into one of the support beams had issued a mayday call as it struggled with power outages and loss of propulsion. So vehicle traffic on the bridge had been halted just 30 seconds prior. But construction workers fixing potholes were still on that stretch of the Baltimore Beltway when the bridge collapsed around 1:30 Tuesday morning.
I need one of you guys on the south side, one of you guys on the north side, hold all traffic on the Key Bridge. There's a ship approaching that just lost their steering.
That was the call just moments before this collapse happened. 2 people have been pulled from the water, 6 now presumed dead. 24 National Transportation Safety Board investigators are now on site reviewing data recorders and past safety records. President Biden is urging Congress to approve paying for the entire cost of repairing this Francis Scott Key Bridge, though engineers say rebuilding it could take 5 to 10 years. Jason?
All right, Sonika. Many questions still surround this bridge collapse, including the integrity of it. Engineering experts say that while bridges have some built-in defenses against collisions, this one was likely too extreme to withstand. The Francis Scott Key Bridge was built back in 1977. At that time, ships the size of the one that crashed into the bridge yesterday didn't exist. Bridge design and technology has improved since then, but Maryland Governor Wes Moore says the Key Bridge was fully up to code.
First responders in Baltimore are dealing with a number of challenges in the recovery of the 6 missing workers trying to get the debris out of the water. We talked to first responders here in Central Florida who say everything from the temperature to the murkiness of the water make the effort more challenging.
in the water, our body heat goes away extremely fast. So for us to be protected, it's vital for any long-term search. For us to get on scene, use our sonar equipment to quickly determine this is something of interest that we need to check out.
Crews are using sonar to see what's beneath the water's surface. Seminole County has 9 boats with sonar capability. And we are monitoring everything coming out of Baltimore, and will continue to update you on air and online at WESH.com. Make sure you also download the free WESH 2 News app for breaking news alerts.
5:04, and we turn to Orange County. This morning, Disney's plan for an affordable housing development in the west part of that county is moving ahead. Orange County leaders approved the project after a long meeting. WESH 2's Bob Hazen is live in Horizon West, where some people say this project is just too big. Bob?
Yeah, and this is a part of the county that is just growing very, very fast. Lots of new neighborhoods and developments, and dozens of those people went to that meeting last night to try to convince commissioners not to give Disney the green light for this project. Now, that vote, though, is not the end of the story. It now goes on to state regulators who have the final say on whether the project ever gets built. Reporting live in Horizon West, Bob Hazen, WESH 2 News.
Happening today, the Central Florida Tourism Oversight District Board is expected to vote on a new administrator. Governor Ron DeSantis has recommended Stephanie Copelousos for the job. She recently served on the governor's presidential campaign. There is a spot on the board after Glenn Gilzine became Orange County's supervisor of elections. Today, local nonprofits hoping to get millions of dollars in tourist development tax money will meet in person with county leaders. The TDT Grant Application Review Committee will hold a meeting this morning. The county is accepting applications for millions of dollars in grant money from April 1st through April 30th. The committee will review those applications and make recommendations to the Tourist Development Council. The Board of County Commissioners will make the final decision on who gets the money.
New this morning, 28 Floridians are waking up here at home after arriving from Haiti last night. These rescues to Orlando International Airport are part of Governor Ron DeSantis' executive order to get people out of the unrest and violence on the island. State officials say they are specifically focusing on U.S. citizens who have a tie to Florida, but they won't say no to any Americans. The state says the goal is to fly people out every day.
Developing this morning out of Orange County, this man is behind bars for the 2021 murders of a 20-year-old woman and her 1-year-old daughter. 23-year-old Dujon Griffiths faces first-degree murder and attempted murder charges. Deputies say that he killed Masania Malcolm and her daughter Jordania. Now, he's also accused of shooting Malcolm's boyfriend, who survived. Now, Griffiths was arrested in New Jersey last week and will be extradited back to Orange County. A cyber attack is still affecting a number of city departments in St. Cloud.
People in the area are having trouble reaching the city by phone, and some are making important payments in cash. Experts say it is common for small cities to be targeted in cyber attacks. They can come from an email or software, and they can be very costly for the city and its residents.
Now they know what email addresses can expect emails from the city. So now they will try to become and try to mimic as if they were the city to contact you about, we're going to cut off your electricity because you haven't made a payment.
Experts say if you have any doubt about an email, don't click the links inside. Instead, go directly to the website of the agency in question. Happening right now, a Kissimmee Entertainment District is still in the dark as of this morning. Old Town experienced power outages last night around 8 o'clock, and this is having an impact on several businesses. Duke Energy estimates they'll have the power back on soon. Right now, it is still not clear what led to the outages.
New Smyrna Beach says it will not issue new building permits for 1 year in an area prone to flooding. The Venetian Bay subdivision off State Road 44 flooded during Hurricane Ian and also a few big storms since then. The city says the storm drainage system needs a major upgrade. Officials stopped issuing building permits in the area of Venetia Bay called Portofino Gardens last month. And at last night's commission meeting, there was a discussion about possibly extending that ban into June.
Nobody's rich. We're trying to protect our investments, and we see these floods as doing the opposite.
City officials say it's Venetian Bay's responsibility to pay for costs to make the improvements, and that it's the city's job to make sure it happens.
Okay, we're getting you ready for some rain in the outlook, and we may need the umbrellas as soon as today.
Yeah, meteorologist Kellyanne Clash joining us now with a comfortable start this morning, Kellyanne, but changes.
Yeah, especially for our western locations. Later on today, we will see some showers, even a couple of thunderstorms for areas along I-75. But out the door right now, we are clear, we are dry with temperatures into the 60s and 70s. And then we see those showers and thunderstorms associated with a front that will eventually push in our direction.
All right, Kellyanne, a shocking close call on a highway after 2 people involved in a crash had to jump to safety, nearly being hit by a semi. The warning to everyone on the roads, even if they're not behind the wheel.
Plus, the countdown is on to the final Delta IV Heavy launch. How ULA is looking ahead to its next generation of rockets.
You're watching WESH 2.
Tensions are rising between the U.S. and Israel over the dire conditions for civilians in Gaza.
Now that divide is showing up in public ways, and it's surprising some observers. But here's what the president had to say. President Joe Biden saying that these demonstrators have a point, and it's another sign of the growing and public rift between the U.S. and Israel.
Here in Central Florida, Advent Health has begun expanding its inpatient rehab center. Advent Health Waterman in Tavares helps people recovering from serious medical conditions like strokes, brain injuries, or amputations. It's had 12 beds since it opened in January of 2020, but after this $3 million construction project is complete, the rehab center will nearly double in size with 22 beds by the end of this summer.
Apple is getting its hands on AI, and it will be on display this summer at the tech giant's annual Worldwide Developer Conference. It's scheduled for June 10th through the 14th. According to reports, Apple is ready to join forces with Google, especially its Gemini AI engine. The system has chat boxes and related tools that could be used in future iPhones and iOS features. The final Delta IV Heavy rocket is set to launch tomorrow.
Yeah, it's an explosive launch seen for more than 20 years from the Cape. A huge share of its missions have been deploying national security satellites, but also 2 critical NASA missions. With the force of 3 boosters, Delta IV Heavy launches are quite the show. Part of its liftoff, an effect that gives the appearance that the boosters are on fire. As the Delta IV Heavy program comes to an end, ULA is looking forward to its next generation rocket, the Vulcan.
All the things we've learned over the many years launching the heritage vehicles we have today, they're all being incorporated along with all the new technology to make this big and bad.
A window for the final launch of the Delta IV Heavy opens at 1:40 tomorrow afternoon at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station.
And meteorologist Kellyanne Clash joining us now with a check of the launch forecast and also just today, off to a warm start, but then later on we might need the umbrella.
Yeah, and then tomorrow as well because of a cold front moving in, which is why they're not really giving it high probability for tomorrow's rocket launch. It's only 30% favorable weather conditions.
Yeah,
so,
not good.
No, not great. Obviously, we want the rocket to be in good shape as it takes its final flight, and I wouldn't be surprised if they push it back. We are at a 30% chance of favorable weather conditions, mainly due to wind and cumulus clouds at 1:40 tomorrow afternoon. The reason why is this cold front that's now working through parts of the panhandle. This cold front will arrive tomorrow morning, but ahead of that front, we have a trough of low pressure producing some showers and thunderstorms south of Tallahassee, continuing to work from the Gulf of Mexico and into parts of the Big Bend area of Florida. This will not affect us this morning. So as we get the kids ready for school, know that we are off to a dry and very comfortable start with temperatures in the upper 60s and low 70s. But once you pick the kids up, depending on your location, we will be tracking showers and thunderstorms or dry conditions. By 1, 2 o'clock, it's just a few isolated showers. That rain really increases going into the 3 o'clock hour, and then from 5 until 6, that's when we'll see our highest rain chances, up to a 40% coverage. Then by Friday, we are in the low and middle 70s. That does not last for long. We get this ridge of high pressure building Saturday and Sunday, which will keep us dry for the holiday weekend, but also warm. 80 degrees on Saturday, 83 on Sunday, and almost nearing 90 degrees by next Tuesday. Megan, good morning.
Good morning, Kellyanne. I'm still just keeping my eye on some construction this morning. This is where I-4 meets the turnpike in those express lanes. This is a part of that Sand Lake construction we warned you about on Monday. This is a live look here at those express lanes, looking like they are closed here on that westbound side. heading towards Kirkman and Sand Lake Road. But you can see traffic is now getting by in those regular lanes, so no need for a detour there. And unfortunately, so very early, so there is not a need for those express lanes as well. But did want to mention it because I know a lot of people do use those daily for their commute. This is a live look in downtown Orlando, close to Colonial Drive. Great shot here of the downtown skyline. No delays in either direction, heading up into Seminole County. Looking good this morning. You can see that in those travel times. Across the board, we're sitting in the green. I-4 from Altamont Springs to Florida's Turnpike. Westbound and eastbound, we're at 14 minutes. Jason.
All right, Megan. The U.S. Navy Blue Angels are gearing up to soar across the skies of Central Florida. How soon they'll take flight. Next on Sunrise.
Captioning is sponsored by Advent Health.
The long streak of winless lottery tickets is officially over.
Overnight, someone cashed in big on the first Mega Millions jackpot of the year.
Plus, college students using their financial aid to place bets on sports.
How universities are stepping in to prevent them from taking too many wrong money moves.
We're going to do everything in our power to help these families find closure.
Now in Sunrise, from rescue to recovery. After dawn, crews will be searching for bodies after the Baltimore Bridge collapse.
In Orange County, Disney's affordable housing project gets the green light, but not everyone who lives in Horizon West is excited about the idea.
And a second Central Florida school is going to a year-round calendar.
Local, live, late-breaking. WESH 2 News Sunrise starts now.
Good Wednesday morning. I'm Jason Guy.
And I'm Meredith McDonough. Let's begin with a check of the forecast. First morning meteorologist Kellyanne Clash joining us now. Kellyanne, good morning, and we're off to a warm start today.
Good morning, Meredith and Jason. Good morning, everyone. Off to a very warm start this morning, and today's going to be a warm day. All ahead of our next cold front that will give us cooler air later on this week, and also will bring in some showers and thunderstorms. One of the locations that could see some rainfall today is Ocala. Right now, though, things are nice and quiet and warm with the temperature of 71 degrees. We're at 71 in Leesburg, 70 degrees in Kissimmee, and a couple of spots even in the upper 60s, including Palm Coast, Daytona Beach, and Sanford. Now this afternoon, area-wide, we're warming up into the 80s. Then starting tomorrow, we cool down and track rainfall. We'll talk much more about those details. Plus, we have rain in our forecast for this afternoon. We'll time it out hour by hour and tell you exactly who could see the rain. But first, let's get over to Megan with a check on the roads.
Kelly, good morning. I'm monitoring a major crash right now along I-4. This is eastbound at Michigan Street. 3 lanes are blocked here on that eastbound side. This crash just happened literally within the last minute or so. And you can see traffic is slowly able to get by just in that left lane. So traveling eastbound in downtown Orlando, definitely a warning to use those express lanes. Something I'll be monitoring, working to learn more information. But for now, eastbound travelers, be mindful at Michigan Street. There is that major crash. Coming up in a few minutes, we will take another look at this and check in with those travel times.
All right, Megan. 5:31, we turn to Maryland. The 6 construction workers who are still unaccounted for after yesterday's bridge collapse are now presumed dead. Joining me this morning is Sonika Dange. And Sonika, those recovery efforts are going to get going later this morning.
Yeah, and that's after search and rescue efforts were suspended last night because of safety concerns for divers who are navigating the frigid waters and the debris in the Patapsco River. The construction workers were on the bridge at the time of the collapse, repairing potholes. That's when a Mayday call came in and police scrambled to shut the bridge down. The large cargo ship reportedly lost power and was even seen with billowing smoke moments before it struck a pillar on the Francis Key Bridge. It is a possibility the cold and rainy conditions could now impact recovery.
Very clearly it could, but we're going to do everything in our power to help these families find closure.
Meanwhile, the impact of the bridge's collapse is being felt, closing traffic in and out of the port of Baltimore and creating a backlog of cargo ships. In remarks yesterday, President Biden said there's no time to debate responsibility.
It's my intention that the federal government will pay for the entire cost of reconstructing that bridge, and I expect the Congress to support my effort.
As far as the 2 people who were rescued from the water yesterday, 1 person was taken to the hospital and was later released. Mayor, back to you.
Stay with WESH News for continuing coverage of the Baltimore Bridge collapse. From the recovery efforts to rebuilding and reopening the port, we'll bring you updates on air and online at WESH.com.
Disney's plan for affordable housing west of the Magic Kingdom is moving ahead this morning.
Orange County commissioners signed off on the project that many in the Horizon West area fought to block. WESH's Bob Hazen is there live this morning. And Bob, this would bring more than 1,000 homes.
Yeah, 1,400 more apartments and townhomes coming to the Horizon West neighborhood here. But even though Disney won yesterday with that vote, it's not a done deal yet.
All right, this morning, students and teachers are safe. It's after a bomb threat forced them to leave an elementary school campus in Sumter County.
A note containing a bomb threat was sent to Wildwood Elementary School, and that caused students, teachers, and staff to evacuate to a nearby church yesterday afternoon so explosive experts could search the school. Officials say nothing dangerous was found inside, but it was still a very scary situation for the kids and their parents.
I was really worried because somebody wrote later said bomb threat.
So you wanted to get out of the school?
It was scary to get a phone call saying that the kids had to be evacuated. Now, normally when a bomb threat goes on, they just checks it out and the kids don't leave the school, but this must be something serious because they had to evacuate.
Now, the sheriff's office says it has identified the person who sent out the note. Now, that person was already in jail and is expected to face charges. Tavares police say they've arrested a man in connection to a double stabbing that left a father and son badly hurt. This is 34-year-old Daryl Shack Jr. He's being charged with 2 counts of attempted murder and being held without bond. Now, police were called to a home along Diston Avenue in Tavares Sunday afternoon. When they arrived, they found Frederick Crawford Jr. and his son Frederick Crawford III with stab wounds. At last check, they were in critical condition in the hospital.
A federal judge sentenced the Jacksonville Jaguars Jumbotron hacker to 220 years in prison. 53-year-old Samuel Thompson was charged for producing, receiving, and possessing child sex abuse material. Thompson was convicted of raping a 14-year-old in Alabama in 1998 and was required to register as a sex offender. Back in 2018, he installed remote access software in the Jaguars server room and caused the video boards at a game to malfunction.
Well, the winless lottery streak is over.
Yeah, somebody is waking up $1.1 billion richer. Pretty nice, eh? Well, that's because the person from New Jersey overcame the odds and won the Mega Millions jackpot. 2 tickets here in Florida worth $1 million were sold, one in Crawfordville, which is near Tallahassee, and the other in Jacksonville. Double check your tickets. Here are those numbers: 7, 11, 22, 29, 38, and 4. And it's interesting to note there were 7 and 11 in some of the previous draws. There's another chance to win some cash tonight with the Powerball jackpot now at $865 million. The cash value there is a cool $416 million. Since the last winner on January 1st, they've been 36 straight drawings without a big winner. And that drawing for Powerball is tonight at 11. Of course, WESH 2 News will bring you those numbers.
Jason, I thought the same thing when I saw that 7 and 11. I was like, wait, didn't I see that yesterday too?
We sure
What's going
did,
on?
yeah.
If you play, maybe that's some of the numbers you need to include.
Should I go to a 7-Eleven and pick those? I don't know. Maybe that was why we didn't win it, Kellyanne.
You also have to be in it to win it, right? Yeah. I mean, if you don't play, you don't win. That's exactly what that is with. So out the door right now, let's talk about our temperatures. We're into the 60s and 70s to start under mostly cloudy conditions as we have our showers and thunderstorms out along the Big Bend area slowly working towards central Florida. We'll increase our rain chances today up to about a 40% coverage between 5 and 6, and then going into the evening hours, slowly beginning to dry out before another round moves in tomorrow. We'll talk much more about tomorrow's timing of the rain coming up in a few minutes.
There's a new trend of sports betting on college campuses, but how are those students getting the money they need to gamble?
Plus, the tussock moth caterpillar is back. The reason you should stay away from the creepy crawling creatures.
You're watching WESH 2.
5:45, and we're learning about an apparent wave of sports betting across our nation that is on college campuses.
The Nevada Council on Problem Gambling says 1 in 5 college students have admitted to using their financial aid money to place bets. But only about 25% of colleges and universities have policies in place regarding gambling. Health professionals are urging schools to teach students about the consequences and signs of compulsive gambling. A man in Tampa who overcame his own addiction is now helping others do the same.
This is a very vulnerable population. They're out in the world for the first time on their own, really experiencing freedom for the first time. It's starting to cause you problems paying your bills or meeting your commitments. You're starting to miss classes or not do as well in school because of it. People who are close to you are noticing it.
The American Gambling Association says $2.5 billion will bet this year on the NCAA men's and women's basketball tournaments just through legal sports books. Now, if you or someone you know needs gambling help, Florida has a free 24/7 hotline. That number is right there on your screen. It's 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
Bermuda Air began services to Bermuda from Orlando International Airport. You're taking a look at pictures of the first flights taken off with a traditional water salute yesterday. Look at that. Passengers were also treated with flight pins to celebrate and some treats. The flight features a dual-class cabin with 14 business seats and 52 economy seats. Experts from all over our nation are right here converging in Central Florida for the National Hurricane Conference.
Our first morning meteorologist Eric Bursch joined them yesterday to take a look at some tools available to emergency responders.
So this conference is a great opportunity for us to take the lessons learned from 2023 and figure out what we might do different in 2024.
Our first morning weather team will be at the National Hurricane Conference all week. Kellyanne Class is going to be out there later on today, and she'll have live coverage on WESH 2 News at noon. And she's here now in the flesh. So, Kelly, you've got a busy day.
Yes, very busy day ahead and a very constructive week for everyone across the state, everyone in the southeast who lives along the coast for new and improved information on whether it's forecasting hurricanes or it's just really an opportunity for emergency managers to meet as well and just discuss what they learned in the previous years to come. So interested to see what the workshops are today. Of course, we'll have more at noon. Okay, so nothing in the tropics that we're speaking of, but what we are looking at is our next cold front moving through the state. Out the door right now, we're tracking showers and thunderstorms along the Big Bend area of Florida. Mostly cloudy conditions here in Central Florida. Not quite tracking any rainfall yet, but we will be looking at rain later on in the day. Some nasty storms making its way from the Gulf to the coast and beginning to move towards the Big Bend area. Here locally, we're not picking up on any sort of activity because nothing is making its way into Central Florida at the moment. So it's a dry and pleasant start as you get the kids ready for school. Temperatures out the door in the 60s and low 70s. And then when you pick the kids up from school, it's going to be warm, but we will also be tracking showers and thunderstorms mainly along our western locations. Now, of course, ahead of that front, we're still going to get warm. Temperatures will reach the low and middle 80s as our winds pick up out of the south around 10 miles per hour. First half of the day, nice and quiet. By 1, we're looking at a few isolated showers, eventually increasing our threat to scattered rainfall. Again, mostly along I-75. What happens on Friday is we'll have this ridge of high pressure starting to strengthen. So we'll have plenty of sunshine going into Friday, still cool. But that ridge of high pressure is going to warm us up into the weekend with highs in the lower and middle 80s. And then next week, with that same high pressure in place, we're warming up to almost 90 degrees on Tuesday. All right, it's 5:51. Let's get over to Megan with a check on the roads.
Kelly, good morning. I'm continuing to monitor a major crash in Orange County along I-4 this morning. This is eastbound at Michigan Street. You can see the right 3 lanes blocked off here this morning. Traffic only able to get by in that left lane. This is because of this crash involving the semi-trailer. And also reportedly there is a diesel fuel leak. So there is the hazmat response, which is why those lanes are continuing to be shut down this morning because they do have to clean up all that fuel that spilled onto the road. So tracking those heavy delays eastbound at Michigan Street, you can see the backups here this morning. So if you're traveling from Maitland, downtown Orlando towards those attractions, this is a morning that you're going to want to use those express lanes on that eastbound side, excuse me. So if you're heading actually towards downtown Orlando from those attractions. So keep that in mind. Seeing those heavy backups for those express lanes are going to be your best bet if you're traveling into downtown Orlando. You can see those delays I-4 eastbound from Florida's Turnpike to Altamont Springs. We're sitting now at 32 minutes. Jason?
All right, Megan, the top 50 university game design programs were announced.
The 3 Central Florida schools that landed a spot, and which one made the top 5?
More than 20 years of Delta rocket launches are coming to an end when you can see it take a final flight from our Space Coast.
And Disney's affordable housing plan is moving forward. Bob.
It would bring 1,400 apartments and townhomes to the Horizon West area, but it has some critics. Their next hope for stopping this plan. Kellyanne.
Our next cold front is working across the state at the moment. Coming up at 6 o'clock, we'll have the details on when the rain moves in and how long the cooler air will last.
All right, Kellyanne, and now's the time to grab your smartphone or tablet and make sure you have the free WESH 2 News mobile app downloaded and installed. Also, turn on the notifications so we can alert you to any changing weather conditions in your neighborhood, and we'll update you on breaking news. Stay with us. More WESH 2 News Sunrise ahead at 6.
Closed captioning sponsored by Morgan & Morgan. Dial #law on your cell phone.